We have a crisis in the trust. We have a crisis in the spiritual bond between black women and black girls, black mothers and black daughters. And we see this crisis. I see this crisis, speaking from a psychological standpoint, a therapist standpoint. I see this crisis manifest at every stage of life. Every stage of life. I see black mothers in their 70s who have issues with their daughters in their 50s. I see black women in their 50s who have issues with their daughters in their 30s. I see black women in their 40s who have issues with their daughters in their 20s. We have to overcome this. We have to overcome this. Black women and black mothers, black women and their daughters, black mothers and their daughters, we have to deal with this situation. First and foremost, black mothers, I need you to understand that if your mother was abusive to you, you are likely to be abusive to your own daughter. Let me say that again. If your mother was verbally abusive to you, you are likely to be verbally abusive to your daughter. So the way that you can break the cycle, the way you can break the cycle, the way you can break the cycle, the way you can break the cycle is by becoming conscious. You must become conscious of the conditioned behavior that your mother put into you. Okay? Your mother trained you to be abusive towards your daughter because she was abusive towards you. Your mother trained you to be abusive towards your daughter because she was abusive towards you. And so you have to practice eternal psychological consciousness. You have to practice eternal emotional awareness. You have to become aware of how your mother's dysfunctional parenting skills are now taking over and contributing to your dysfunctional parenting skills. When is the last time you said something good to your daughter? When is the last time you had something good to say to your daughter? Are you constantly criticizing your daughter? Are you constantly condemning your daughter? Are you constantly belittling and ridiculing your daughter? Some of you are going to say, I don't abuse my daughter. Some of you are going to say, I don't criticize my daughter. Some of you are going to say, I don't ridicule my daughter. And that might be true. But are you the type of mother who may not criticize, condemn, or ridicule because you don't spend no time with your daughter? In other words, you are guilty of the crime of emotional neglect because you don't invest emotionally in your daughter. Are you one of those types? Are you one of those emotionally uninvolved black mothers? Are you one of those emotionally uninvolved black mothers who don't hug your daughter, don't tell your daughter that you love your daughter? You don't even smile at your daughter. Raising your daughter is a business. You approach being a mother like it's a business. And then when I ask you, how much time do you spend with your daughter? You say something. My mother didn't spend no time with me, and I turned out all right. My mother didn't spend no time with me, and I turned out all right. How many of you have heard your mother say this? How many of you have heard a mother say this? That she don't have to spend no time with her daughter because her mother didn't spend no time with her. Selfish. A lot of mothers want to punish their daughter because they were punished. Let me say it again. Let me say it again. Let me say it again. A lot of black mothers want to punish their daughter because they were punished. There are black mothers who refuse to emotionally connect with their daughter, refuse to spend quality time with their daughter, refuse to nurture their daughter because they never got none themselves. And they are selfish. Selfish black mother syndrome. Selfish black mother syndrome. And black man, I want you to listen, because a lot of black men are guilty of the same with their sons. A lot of black men are guilty of the same with their sons. A lot of black men are guilty of the same with their sons. Why did you have children if you only brought them into this world to abuse them? To abuse them. But here's what I want all victims of maternal emotional abuse to understand. Black women, if you have been abused by your mother, the best way to deal with your abusive black mother is not to push back. Don't push back. Your mother wants you to push back because all she knows, the only way she knows how to communicate is through emotional violence. Don't give her what she's used to. Are you listening to me, black girls? Young black women? I'm talking to the daughters right now. I'm talking, if your mother abused you, neglected you, abandoned you, don't flip out. She wants that because that's the only language she knows, the language of emotional pain. Don't give her that. Instead, I love you, Mom. Kiss her on the head. I forgive you, Mom. She'll break down and cry in front of your face. Her spirit will make her break down and cry in front of your face. Look her in the face and say, Mom, you put me through a lot, but you still my mother. And I know you love me. And I know the way you treat me is because grandmom mistreated you. Grandmom mistreated you. And great-grandmom mistreated grandmom. And great-great-grandmom mistreated great-grandmom. And great-great-great-grandmom mistreated great-great-grandmom. So you are reacting to unconditioned, okay? You are reacting, mother, to a conditioned habit. So when your mother is abusing you verbally, don't internalize it. She is not in control. Your mother is unconscious. She don't even know that she's just passing along the dysfunctional habits of the previous generation. Your mother not conscious. And see, here's the other thing you got to understand. Since we have a Eurocentric view of childbirth, since we have a Eurocentric view of childbirth that says my child is mine, since we have a Eurocentric view of childbirth that says my child is mine, your mother sees you as the little her she can beat up on. Your mother sees you as the little her she can beat up on. Your mother sees you as her externalized internal. Your mother sees you as her externalized internal. Your mother sees you as her externalized internal. So do not react. She's unconscious. Your mother is traumatized. And a traumatized person isn't aware when they go into the trauma and start operating from the traumatic memory. I got my doctorate in clinical psychology to heal African people. I got my doctorate in clinical psychology to heal African people. I got my doctorate in clinical psychology to heal African people. Now, some of you are going to say, wait a minute, Dr. Umar. Some of you are going to say, wait a minute, Dr. Umar. Some of you are going to say, wait a minute, Doc, my mother cursed at me. She smacked me. She talked about me to my aunts. She embarrassed me at school. What do you mean forgive? What do you mean forgive? Let me tell you what I mean by forgive. Let me tell you what I mean by forgive. In African culture, respect for parents, respect for grandparents, respect for elders, respect for ancestors is at a premium. We've lost that in America. Black America has lost that. But in African culture, respect for parents, respect for elders, respect for grandparents, respect for ancestors is at a premium. Not just because of social hierarchy and custom, not just because of etiquette and respect, but in the divine design of God's universe. In the divine design of God's universe. In the divine design of God's universe. Since your mother brought you into this world, regardless of what she has done to you, y'all better hear me out. There is no greater gift a mother gives a child than to procreate. Because a woman comes no closer to death than when she gives birth. I'm going to say it again. I want you to understand, overstand, and understand me one time. I want you to understand, overstand, and understand me. The greatest gift a black woman can give to her child is the gift of birth, because a mother comes closest to death. A woman comes closest to death when she gives birth. So in the fact that your mother procreated you, God created you, your mother procreated you. God created you, your mother procreated you. For the mere fact that your mother gave birth to you demands your respect no matter how she treats you. Do you know why? Why is your mother entitled to your respect no matter how she treats you? Number one, she gave you the gift of life, which almost took her life. She gave you the gift of life, which almost took your life. Number two, your mother's karma will come, but you had better not wish it on her. Your mother's karma will come, but you better not wish it on her. Your mother's karma will come, but you better not wish it on her. One of the best things I did for my life. My mother and I are close. My father and I are not. But I had to forgive my father for childhood experiences. Okay? My father was a harsh disciplinarian. I had to forgive him. And I did that decades ago because I knew that if I did not forgive my father for being the harsh disciplinarian that he was, I would have automatically married the trauma that I experienced. His karma would have became my karma, because when you hold a grudge with your parents, when you hold a grudge with your parents, you make their karma your karma. Forgiveness is to cut the karmic reaction. You could take it or leave it. You don't forgive to let nobody off the hook, because their karma from God is coming whether you forgive or not. So forgiveness is not letting anybody off the hook. Forgiveness is to interact the karmic chain of reaction. Forgiveness is to interrupt the intergenerational karmic chain of reaction.